What's good? What's good? What's good? It's your boy Micah back at it again with another YouTube video. Today we're going to talk about a couple of topics. We're going to talk about the difference between groupie Satanism and actual Satanism. We're also going to talk about the difference between right-hand pathers, true right-hand pathers, and perceived right-hand pathers in the form of Christians, Muslims, Jews, etc. So, starting off, Satanism. You know, we see a lot of horror movies and shit in Hollywood that revolve around showing satanic practitioners as being murderous, baby-stealing, baby-killing motherfuckers. And as we know with most things, Hollywood is so far from the truth, it's ridiculous. Satanists, real Satanists, are not necessarily focused upon baby-killing type rituals and slaying goats and all that other kind of shit. Real satanic practitioners work with the power of the self, the power of the mind, your own energy body, your own chakras, in addition to the darkness and the satanic powers themselves, i.e. working with demons, not just in this plane, but in other planes, that kind of thing. Working with various frequencies that can produce different effects, such as demonic possession, controlling the minds of others when need be, controlling your own mind when need be. That kind of thing, developing a strong will. Satanism is, as I like to put it, a religion of the iron will, because it takes a very strong will in order to walk this kind of path. This is not about wearing a fucking shirt with a pentagram on it that says Satan on it. This is not about listening to black metal and fucking, you know what I'm saying, doing all that other kind of shit. You can do that if you want to, but no, that's not the core essence of what Satanism actually is. Like I said, you're working with your own power, your own energy, expanding and darkening your own consciousness through various means. And because of that, Satanism takes from various, well, I'm not going to say takes from, but it involves practitioners taking different aspects, similar to chaos magic, from different paths such as shamanism, energy healing, sometimes the RHP, you know, more devotional practices, that kind of thing. And when you really start to get into it, you find some people, they like to dedicate themselves as vessels or oracles to certain demonic lords and demonic deities and that kind of thing. Some of them are more militant with the shit, i.e. they wage spiritual warfare against the JCI, against the Muslims, sometimes against white workers, you know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that the baby killing, goat killing type shit is not a part of the religion. It is a part of the religion, but it's on the fringe, the extreme fringe aspects of it. Just like with another religion I can name, i.e. Islam, you have ISIS and radical Islam that is a part of the extreme fringe of that religious group. Just like you have the peace-loving ones and the ones who are actually cool with the shit. You know what I'm saying? They keep to themselves and they simply do their fucking devotional practice. It's the same thing with Satanism. When you're working or walking the satanic path, you are toughened up like a motherfucker. Do not let Hollywood, the Illuminati, etc. fool you. You do not walk into Satanism with a fucking golden spoon in your mouth, so to speak. You don't just walk in, do a fucking ritual, and then the demonic lords give you everything on a silver platter. You work for whatever the fuck you get. But it also places a different kind of responsibility on you as a practitioner, which is liberating. Because if you fail because you failed, which is more easier to deal with than failing because somebody else made you fail. Feel me? It deals with your own personal power and also gaining power or taking power from other entities as need be. And the thing about Satanism is that it does not discriminate with the action. You see this a little bit with Anton LaVey and like his, 9 or 10 fucking satanic commandments. But the deeper aspect, going beyond LaVey, is do what must be done. Plain and simple. Because it takes strength of self in order to actually do that. If you need to fucking eliminate someone, you know, click, clack, bang, do you have the strength and the knowledge and the intelligence to do so without getting caught? If you don't fucking do it, or use magic in order to do it without involving yourself personally in their affairs. If you do have that strength, that intelligence, etc., go for it. Satanism is about rationality and common sense as well, because if you lack it, you're going to get yourself in a lot of needless trouble, so to speak, and you'll open up doors for the enemy to fucking assault you and take away your years, putting harsh sentences on you. You feel me? That kind of thing. There is a meditative, I'm not going to say Buddhist, but a meditative, almost Tibetan aspect to Satanism as well, because again, you're working with your own energy. And the gateway to working with your own energy is the mind. Therefore, you meditate, you build up your power through meditation. You can go on different websites like fucking Joy of Satan Ministries. I think that's where 90% of all Satanists have started. Joy of Satan Ministries, and look up their fucking meditations and shit. If you take out the neo-Nazi bullshit and propaganda, you'll uncover some good information, and you'll start to see how you can build up your own routine and your own practice that benefits your unique soul, energetic structure, and all that good shit. In terms of what I call groupie Satanism, this is when you see rap artists on YouTube using satanic imagery or trying to put on the front and the title of Satanist or Antichrist or whatever the fuck, but they lack the actual power in order to sustain it. These dark LHP paths and religions are like gangs, very similar to gangs. And if you were a part of a gang, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. You don't just call yourself a fucking Crip or a Blood and not think that you're not gonna be tested. It's the same thing with these paths. When you call yourself a black magician, there are certain tests that come with that. There's magical warfare. There's conflict starting with other people that have no rational fucking basis. It could be a deity or your spirits or their spirits trying to test you and see what the fuck you're about. It's the same thing when you call yourself a Satanist. My viewers, you're going to be tested. This is not something to bear lightly. These chains and all this is not simply to look good. This is a representation of how far I've come in my path and in my own personal journey with all the power and knowledge and spirits I carry with me. You feel me? And so when you step into the satanic path, you got to make sure you know what the fuck you're doing. There's going to be tricks. There's going to be traps. There's going to be motherfuckers trying to give you false doctrine, false knowledge, false info, and all this other kind of shit. And you have to have the personal discernment, the foresight. Your third eye has to be open as fuck to see through the bullshit and know when somebody is speaking the truth and guiding you in the right way, or when they're trying to set themselves up as a god or a deity or a master over you. And that can impede your journey if you don't have that. With that being said, I'm going to put a pin in that for a second, and I'm going to talk about the right-hand path. What I've come to learn and find out through personal experience is that the right-hand path does not constitute Christians, Jews, and Muslims and the like. What it constitutes is light workers, shamans, people who work with the elements, who work with the cosmos, the fucking astrological signs, constellations, that kind of thing. They prefer to stay in balance with the cosmos and the universe and how things are. And in regards to light workers, of course you have the fluff bunnies. You know what I'm saying? They think everything is fucking love and light. But you got some crazy motherfuckers out there too that work with the light. I know one. Like, she is not afraid to fucking dive into the darkness at all when need be. And that scorpionic, Scorpio type energy she fucking carries enables her to fucking do that shit without issue, without problem. So in regards to like Christians, Muslims, and Jews, yeah, there are Christians who do black magic. There are Muslims who do black magic. There are Jews, especially. This is fucking well known, should be well known, that there are Jews in high-ranking positions and in everyday lives, the rabbis and all that other kind of shit, who create fucking golems, who death curse motherfuckers they don't like, all that other kind of shit. It's a mixed bag of reality, as that is what Earth and this plane is. We'll get to that in another video probably. But the point I'm trying to make is you cannot judge a book by its cover. On the LHP, you can have a motherfucker talking about, oh, well, you know, I'm a black magician and I can do this, or I'm a scion and I can do this. But meanwhile, their internal motivation is completely different. They're simply doing it because they think it's cool. They don't have the strength of will. They don't have the wherewithal to put in the work that is necessary, and it burns them out in the long term. On the right-hand path, you could have the most sheeple-looking motherfucker constantly preaching, praying to Jesus, or doing whatever, and then when they leave, they're headed back to their ritual space in the cemetery to hex the fucking deaconess because she wouldn't suck his dick. You feel me? It's crazy shit, people. It's crazy shit. This world is real, and you have to be prepared as such. All light workers are not weak. All Satanists are not evil. You cannot make the mistake of judging a person just because of what you initially get off of their fucking vibe. The person you think seems weak could actually be able to crush you in a single fucking ritual, regardless of what your fucking personal bias says about them, whether it's subconscious or whether it's unconscious, i.e. it's because they're white, it's because they're black, and you know, it's because they said they're initiated into this tradition, but I don't think that the spirits can initiate you into this tradition. I got it from this family line because I paid $5,000. You feel me? So y'all see how your bias can get you fucked up very quickly? Even my own self, when I look at certain people, yeah, I have my opinions about them, but I also have the common sense to know, okay, I cannot go off my own fucking opinions alone, because that's not going to get me anywhere except to defeat. You feel me? That also plays into warfare, psychic and magical warfare. The first rule is don't underestimate your opponent and don't overestimate your own self. You know, there's this book called The Devil's Apocrypha. And in that book, which I suggest you read, you can get off of Amazon, or if they have it at your fucking bookstore, library, or whatever. In that book, the author writes that the Christian God overestimated the ability of his energies to meet the reality. I'm going to say that again. The Christian God overestimated the abilities of his energies to meet the reality. You don't want to be in that position. That's called pride and hubris. And that always leads to defeat. I'm not talking about Luciferian pride. That's completely different. I'm talking about that Christian, you think you know it all because you're a fucking grandmaster of this lodge and you've been practicing for this many years, and this guy who you're facing has only been practicing for 6 years. You feel me? That kind of thing. Now, in regards to how to interact with your brothers and sisters on the right-hand path, again, talking about light workers, not necessarily Christians, Jews, and Muslims and shit. Be wise in your interactions. Read them, fucking try to get a feel for them, you know, see what they're about. If it's actually objective, like an objective reality that they're fucking weak as shit, do as you will. But if you sense even the smallest amount of strength and real power in them, don't be dumb and start casting shit. Because the last thing you need is to have the story of a black magician that gets fucked up by an archangel. Like, really? Nobody asked you to do this shit and cast and nobody wanted you in a fucking full body cast at the hospital or suffering from COVID-19, but yet here we are because you decided to do some bullshit. Be wise with how you interact with people. That's just a rule in life. Oftentimes, especially on the LHP, when you try to keep to yourself, yeah, sometimes trouble does come and find you. Sometimes you have trolls, assholes, or whatever that just see and have nothing else better to do than to screw with you. But if you're purposefully going out there, just fucking with people because you can, that's how you set yourself up for downfall. That's how you set yourself up to be embarrassed and to lose the respect and, what's the word I'm looking for? Assistance of your own spirits. While we're on the topic of spirits, talking about interaction and basically like psychic and magical sociology, since that's essentially what it is, make sure you are loyal to your spirits, to whatever your path is, because they can be taken from you by a person that's not even initiated into whatever current you work with. This is, I'm not going to say it's common, but it can happen frequently in things like Palo Mayombe or Kimbanda, that kind of thing. I had an idiot try to send their spirits, their muertos, from the pot directly to me to try to do some shit. And they saw that I was taking care of my spirits. I was leaving offerings for them. I was being devotional to them, feeding them, taking care of them. And they looked at me like, hold up, this other idiot's not feeding us. You're feeding them. We want to stay with you. And they told me who exactly it was and why they were doing it. And they went back to him and fucked him up. Devotion goes a very long fucking way. And when I say devotion, devotion is not necessarily a RHP kind of thing. It has religious aspects to it, but there's a more energetic and psychic aspect to it. You can, even in necromancy, yo, when you're showing gratefulness to the death gods, the dead, etc., for sticking with you and all that, you can feel it to such a degree to where you start crying real tears of pure gratitude. That might not seem, all dark and satanic and shit to some of y'all, but it goes a very long way in your resonance and your ability to connect with those spirits because you're legit grateful and it amplifies and ups the energy, So, with that being said, be mindful, stay aware of your surroundings, maintain situational awareness, and just be wise about how you interact with people, whether it's over the internet or whether it's motherfucking in real life. This is magical psychic sociology for you. Stay in tune with your spirits. They'll guide you to where you need to be. Stay devoted and in tune to your path, whether you work with the light, whether you work with the dark, or whatever the fuck you work with. Go deep into that shit. Develop your affinities, your first and secondary affinities. Get that power, that knowledge. Reach that apotheosis. And do what you need to do in this life. Because you have this life and your other lives ahead of you. Some of you do. But with that being said, I'm going to conclude this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Like, share, subscribe, all the other crap I'm supposed to say. And fucking stay safe out here. Deuces.